Okay, now we're going to look at page 55 in your Agile Mind book, number 5. So we've got our parent function over here, this 2 to the x, and we're going to transform it. But that means we need to start with our parent function. So our parent function is where we're going to pick our x's and evaluate to get our y. We use those same x values, the -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and evaluate them in our 2 to the x to get our y values, or our f of x values. So 2 to the -2 gives us 1 over 2 squared, which is 4. 2 to the -1 gives us 1 over 2 to the first, which is 1/2. Anything raised to a 0 power is 1. 2 to the first gives us 2, and 2 squared gives us 4. And we can plot those points. So we have -2, 1/4, -1, 1/2, 0, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 4. Whoop, right up there. And we get an exponential function that looks something like this. We've got that horizontal asymptote here at y equals 0, because this is our parent function. And then we're going to do this transformation. But this time, our transformation doesn't actually have any a, or any x, or any h, or any k. We're not shifting it. What we're doing is we are going to change the x to have an opposite value. So we're not actually changing our x's. Our x's are going to be the same. We're still going to have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. But when we evaluate, we're going to switch the sign on the x. So we're really evaluating here for our g of x, the function 2 to the -2. Well, a double negative, that becomes 2 squared. So this becomes a +4. Same thing happens here. 2 to the -1 becomes 2 to the +1, just 2. 2 to the -0, well, that doesn't change anything. That's still 1. 2 to the -1, well, that's 1 over 2 to the first. Oh, my pen stopped working. There we go, 2. Then we have 1 over 2 to the -2, 1 over 4. So what happens here when we graph this, let me grab a different color real quick. What we're going to have here is -2 is going to have a point up at 4, up here. -1 is going to have a point at 2. 0 has a point at 1 again. 1 has a point at 1/2. And 2 has a point at 1/4. So our function now looks like this. And then it's going to go up like that. So it didn't actually shift it or move it anywhere. The way that this is being transformed is it's being reflected over the y-axis. Pen's being cranky. There we go. So another way that we could write g to the x equals 2 to the -x, think about what we do with a negative exponent. We could write this as g of x equals 1 over 2 to the x. So we're really doing a reciprocal on our function. The last question on this one is, does the transformation change the domain and range? Look at it. It still covers the same x values and still covers the same y values. So no, this doesn't change our domain or range at all. And that's really all that's different about it, is it's just reflected. What's changed is really, think back to our polynomials when we did that, our end behavior. Our end behavior has changed. As it's getting really big, it's getting closer and closer to 0. As it's getting really small, it's going up to positive infinity and continuing up. So our end behavior has changed here, not the domain or the range.